Hello, it's Stuart, the unrepentant atheist, and if I sound a bit different, it's because I've got COVID. Getting over it though. So yeah, the show goes on, illness or not. Plenty to review and critique. And we're going with John today, episode from a few years ago. I love it when a theist calls in and they essentially say, "Oh, I'm not a Christian. I'm not saddled down with all that doctrine." No. I don't go along with the Bible. I'm not religious, but yeah, I believe in God. I've kind of got my own take on God, but no, I'm not religious. I'm better than all those, doctrine and dogma-laden Christians and Muslims. And John is such a person, so he called in, essentially. And what he had to say was that he could see a lot of design in the universe, and he started talking about, well, for example, we can see the eclipse, we can see eclipses, we can forecast exactly when there's going to be an eclipse. It's all like a pattern, and surely this is evidence of design. So okay, so they spent about 20 minutes going over points like that. And then he came back to this thing about, well, of course you do understand that I'm not a Christian, and that I've got my own take on God, etc. And we can't really know what God thinks or what he wants us to do. And then he starts talking about gays and says, Christians are against gays, and I think God this and I think God that. And, gays are all right, really. And as I said, I'm not really a sort of doctrine-laden person. I don't really go along with all that and blah blah blah. But it starts to get more interesting towards the end of the call. So let's see what happens. It's a really priceless end to this call.
But how do you know what God wants?
I don't.
Okay. Other people are saying they do.
Sometimes we can tell.
So first he's saying we don't know what God wants, and then he's saying sometimes we can tell.
People are saying,
we can tell. For instance,
wait, stop. You said you don't, and now you're saying sometimes you can tell what God wants. I want to hear about that.
Well, okay, now I do misspeak sometimes and change my mind. So I misspoke
Me too.
when I first answered the question.
Me too.
But I could say, what?
I do that too. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. Go ahead.
Now, bear in mind, this call's been going for 20 plus minutes, and the spirits have been very good. There's been a lot of kind of agreement, and, I mean, within reason. It's been quite a sort of, in inverted commas, sort of constructive conversation with sort of, good, sort of honest, good spirits. But that's all going to go downhill.
Okay. Well, listen, what I was going to say was, look, I think sometimes we get some evidence what God doesn't like and what God does like. For instance, this whole thing, don't have sex before marriage, doesn't seem to really, that doesn't sit with me. But don't be promiscuous. Don't have sex with a whole bunch of different partners. That does seem to resonate with the God. Because
who the hell are you to tell other people who they can and can't have sex with?
Right.
Did you hear that? He said it doesn't resonate. He said he's okay. It sits well with him. Sex before marriage, but promiscuity doesn't somehow resonate with with the God that he knows.
I'm not. I'm saying that God sometimes gives us evidence that we could look for that he doesn't like
based on
people having sex with multiple partners.
John, I'm going to do you a big favor, because you just completely shot yourself in the foot and undermined everything you were saying before, because you're now convinced that God doesn't want people to be promiscuous. That's how religions start.
Mm-hmm.
You said that your God thing was completely separate from religion. You said that you don't know what God wants and you believe it for this.
That's right. Yeah, he was saying, he spent 5 minutes saying, "Oh, I'm not religious." Just like you see lots of theists denigrating Christians with all their doctrine and Bibles and all their rules, and saying, "Oh, I believe in God, but I'm better than you. I'm not religious. I don't go to church. I don't get down on my knees and pray. I haven't got rules. I haven't got doctrines. I'm not religious." And that's what this guy's been saying to Matt. And as Matt says, he just shot himself in the foot, because now he's saying that God doesn't want promiscuity.
If the second you went to, I don't think God's opposed to sex before marriage, but God's opposed to promiscuity. Congratulations, you have now demonstrated the point that I was making the entire time, is that even that type 1 belief that may not necessarily be bad can lead to other things. It's not a slippery slope argument to say it's necessarily going to be there. It is a data-based argument that shows that it does in fact go there, and thank you for demonstrating.
Yeah, because 5 minutes ago, sorry, I didn't include this in this clip, but just before I started recording, Matt did actually say the big danger is about where your belief in God, where it's going to go. He's just proven him right.
And does your God have beliefs, or at least in 10 things that just so happen to comport with what you believe the world should be?
Yeah, and how many people can I have sex with before I'm promiscuous? And I mean both at one time and in sequence.
Because ultimately, like what you said about gay marriage, saying like, oh, well, you look at that as, well, God put them here, so how can they be evil or something like that? That may be your...
You see, he's gone silent. I'll tell you why. He spent 25 minutes being chummy and pally with Matt and getting Matt's good opinion of him, insofar as it could possibly go. And he's just completely ruined his one and only call that he'll ever make into the atheist experience. He's completely ruined it with that comment, and now he's kicking himself, saying, oh, why don't I keep my mouth shut?
That may be what you believe, but to assert that a deity...
It's a naturalistic fallacy.
Right. It's just, I don't understand like how you're even coming to that conclusion, or how you're figuring out, you know, what things are. It just so happens to comport with.
Yeah, I much prefer Christians who will at least say, well, this is my holy book. Yeah, this is my doctrines. These are all the rules that I believe in. And that's what I believe. If I'm against gay marriage, if I'm against promiscuity, I believe that that's what my religion says. And I stick to it, and I live by it as well. I respect that much more than a theist coming on saying that, oh, I'm better than Christians, I'm better than Muslims because, you know, I think about things more, their books are too rigid, etc., etc., etc. And then the more he talks, people will always, the truth will out. You know, the more people talk, the more a theist of that type will talk, sooner or later you will find out you know, what their true opinion is, and it's absolutely no different, but actually it's worse because it's dishonest
with what you believe.
You know, Matt, I really apologize.
God put me here and gave me a particular...
And I can barely hear you.
Yeah, God put me here and...
How convenient. Did you hear that? He's saying, Matt, I really apologize. I can barely hear you. How convenient.
Gave me a particular sex drive that causes me to have sex with almost nobody, and he put somebody else here that has a sex drive that causes them to have sex with countless people. How is that any different from your argument that God put them here? So this whole thing is a demonstration. You've taken step one towards turning your personal God belief into a religion. And it's not because you have any evidence that God doesn't want people to be promiscuous. It's because you have a problem with people who are promiscuous under your definition.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like
yeah, he's probably not been as promiscuous in his own life as he would have wanted, so he wants to stop everybody else from having fun.
Lost him, but that's what it seems like.
Yeah, and I'm sure if he'd actually allowed him to talk a bit more when he brought up that point, because he said that you know, God provides us evidence on these occasions, and I'm pretty sure that he was going to start talking about AIDS and sexually transmitted illnesses and all that type of thing as evidence that God is against promiscuity. But they kind of, you know, once he actually said that, then Matt went into a sort of tirade against him.
Okay. I was going to do him a favor and let him go, and so he could go think about that, because I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but if you say that you don't know what God wants, but sometimes you do, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And then when you show how religions can start from one idea to...
Well, I won't play any more here because I think the point is well made. But all I can say is it serves him right. And I'm fairly certain that he could have bailed out of that conversation 5 minutes before he said that, and he would have gone to bed and he would have slept peacefully. But because he made a complete fool out of himself, revealed what a bigoted liar he is, he'll be tossing and turning in bed all night, not just for that particular night, but many nights, having ruined his reputation and exposed his bigotry and irrational ways in front of the world on the Atheist Experience. Fantastic! It's the sort of call that really makes it worthwhile to sit and watch the Atheist Experience as much as I do. That's it for now, and I'll be back again with another call very soon. Thanks for watching.